You hear that? The sound of your name in someone else's mouth. The whispers. The lies. The little meetings they thought you'd never hear. I bet you did. And the moment they realized you were listening, everything broke. Their voices, their confidence, their masks shattered. That silence after. That wasn't silence. No, it was panic dressed up in stillness. Their eyes twitching, their hands fidgeting, hearts pounding like war drums under their ribs. They didn't expect you. They didn't prepare for you. And nothing destroys people faster than the moment they realize you were always in the room. Funny, isn't it? People wear masks so tight they forget who they really are. But when fear claws at their throats, the mask rips. And what's underneath? Weakness. Raw. Ugly. Desperate. That's the truth nobody wants to see. But me? Oh, I crave it. Because truth isn't found in their smiles. It's found in their cracks. And cracks. Cracks. Spread fast. One whisper turns into a tremor into an earthquake. That's how you break them. Not with fists, not with shouts, but with silence sharp enough to slice their little world apart. You didn't need to stop them. You just needed to listen. And listening was enough to tear everything down. So let me ask you this. How many times have they underestimated you? Looked past you, thought you were nothing but background noise? And how many times have you smiled, knowing the moment they finally noticed, it would already be too late? Because that's the power they'll never understand. Power isn't loud. Power is being the shadow in the corner of their eye. Power is being the last thing they expected, and the only thing they can't ignore. That's where you live. That's where you rise. And once they realize it, do you know what happens when they break? They scramble, like rats in a burning house. Every word they spit out sounds rehearsed fake, trembling on the edge of collapse. And that's when you realize they were never strong. They only looked strong because you weren't watching. Gone. Their little empire of secrets. Ashes. And you didn't lift a finger. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to swing a blade when their fear cuts deeper than steel. You just stand there, breathing, existing, and suddenly the whole game flips. Because fear isn't in the screen. Fear lives in the pause before the scream. In that choking silence when their throat locks up, when their mind races, when their lies crumble faster than they can rebuild them. That's the space where you win. Quiet, patient, deadly. And let's not forget the human mind is fragile. Push it a little, and it bends. Push it harder and it snaps. They never think they'll snap, until they do. Until they're gasping, twitching, begging for a way out of the truth you already own. That's the moment you carve your place into their memory, forever. So tell me, do you enjoy that sight? Watching the mighty stutter like children, watching the confident drown in their own sweat. Be honest, doesn't it feel good, knowing you didn't have to do anything and still you destroyed them? Because the world lies to them, tells them strength is loud, bold, obvious. But you know better. Real strength hides in silence. Real dominance is invisible until it's unavoidable. And when it finally reveals itself, The whole room shatters like glass under your smile. Betrayal. Behind your back because they were afraid to face you. They plotted in shadows because the light of your presence would expose them. Pathetic. Every scheme they built was proof of their weakness. And when you listened, when you caught their little daggers before they struck, you turned their betrayal into fuel, into rage sharpened like glass. But rage alone is nothing. Rage without control is just thunder with no lightning. Loud, empty, forgettable. So you take that rage, you choke it, you mold it, you sharpen it, until it cuts with precision. Suddenly their betrayal isn't a wound, it's a weapon, and it belongs to you. Funny thing is, the more they try to break you, the more they build you. Every knife they stab in your back becomes another bone in your armor. Every word meant to bury you becomes a seed you turn into fire. They don't even realize it. They're architects of their own downfall. And you're just the artist arranging the wreckage into something beautiful. Tell me, doesn't it feel good? Knowing their betrayal was never the end of you, it was the beginning of something monstrous. Something stronger, wilder, untouchable. They thought they buried you, but they were watering the soil. And when you rise, so listen carefully. Never run from betrayal. Drink it. Swallow it. Let it burn through your veins until you smile at the very people who tried to destroy you. Because nothing shatters them more than seeing you rise from the ashes of their schemes. Laughing. The war isn't out there. No, it's not in their words, not in their schemes, not in their pathetic little gatherings. The real war is inside your skull. That's where the monsters live. That's where the whispers turn into screams. That's where doubt sharpens its claws and waits for the perfect moment to strike. They think the fight is about them, about what they said, about what they did. It feeds on hesitation, and it only stops when you stop feeding it. But here's the beauty. Once you realize the war is inside, you gain the power no one else can touch. You start choosing which voices live and which voices die. You decide which thoughts get to breathe and which ones suffocate in silence. That's real control, not over them, over yourself. And let me tell you something, they'll never understand it. Because most people, they live their whole lives prisoners of their own minds, shackled by fear, chained by doubt, drowned in regret. But you break the chains, you snap the locks, you set the battlefield on fire, and walk through it untouched. So answer me this. How many times has your own mind tried to betray you? How many nights did you lay there fighting thoughts louder than bombs? And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still dangerous. If that doesn't prove your strength, what does? Because once you win in here, not their fear, nothing. The war inside shapes the monster outside. And when you finally unleash it, the world won't know what hit them. Rage. But rage sharpened. Rage honed into precision. That's art. That's power. That's a weapon they can never defend against. They think you're supposed to lose control. They expect you to scream, to break, to react with chaos they can name. But they don't understand. Real rage is silent, cold, calculated. It waits, watches, knows the exact moment to strike. And when it does, it doesn't just wound, it destroys. Think about it. Every betrayal, every whisper behind your back, every moment they underestimated you, all of it builds inside you. Rage collects, it sharpens, it learns, and then it turns into something they never saw coming. A precision strike that shatters their world in a single blow. That's the difference. They give into their rage. You own yours. You don't let it control you. You control it. Every breath, every move, every thought becomes a calculated step toward dominance. And they'll feel it. That silence before the strike. That pause when they realize they're already dead. So let me ask you, what will you do with your rage? Let it burn you until there's nothing left, or sharpen it until it becomes the weapon that makes them fear your name forever. Because rage without control is noise, but rage with control, silence. Now that's a weapon they never see coming. They think silence is weakness, absence, nothingness. But silence is the void where fear grows, the shadow where doubt lives, the pause that devours their confidence. And when they finally realize you're silent, oh, they panic. They expect noise, outrage, a reaction, anything. But you give them nothing, just that stillness, that quiet smile, that look that says you already lost. Silence is your fortress, your blade, your unspoken war cry, and they cannot fight what they cannot hear. Think about it. The more they speak, the louder your silence becomes. Every lie they tell, every whisper they share, every plan they hatch, silence swallows it whole. It makes them second guess, doubt themselves, wonder if they're even in control. And they hate that. They hate that silence, because silence means power. The truth? Silence isn't absence. It's presence. A presence so heavy they can't ignore it. You become a ghost in their mind, a constant question they can't answer. And they'll never rest until they break it. But they can't, because silence is untouchable. So ask yourself, are you speaking to prove you exist? Or are you silent to make them know you're already everything they fear? Because once they realize your silence is louder than their screams, that's when the game ends, and you win. The less they know about you, the more they fear you. That's the rule. Mystery is the crown no one can steal. Distance is the armor no blade can pierce. They want to understand you, to map you, to control you. But you refuse, because control is a gift you keep for yourself. They think knowing your every move will make them safe, but the truth, it makes them vulnerable. It makes them predictable, and predictability, is the death of power. So you vanish into the corners of their mind. You slip between their words. You become the question they can never answer. Imagine it, walking through life like a ghost they can't catch, smiling while they stare into the dark, wondering if you're watching. You aren't loud, you aren't obvious. You're something far worse. Unknown. That's how dominance works, not by force, but by becoming the puzzle they cannot solve. Every glance, every silence, every absence builds fear, and fear is the currency of control. They trade it in without knowing they're bankrupting themselves. You keep your secrets. You keep your calm. You keep them guessing, and they crumble under the weight of not knowing. So tell me, do you want to be the book they've read 1,000 times, or the shadow that haunts them for the rest of their lives? Because once they can't read you, you own them completely, without lifting a finger. They laughed at you once. Oh, how they laughed, as if you were a sideshow, a joke, a shadow too small to matter. But laughter is fragile. It crumbles under weight, and the moment they realized you were listening, their laughter turned to silence, and that silence tastes sweeter than victory. Because laughter, real laughter, isn't born from joy. It's born from defiance, from chaos, from standing in the wreckage they tried to bury you in, and smiling anyway. It's the sound of a truth they can't swallow, the sound of control slipping through their fingers. Delicious, isn't it? The Joker doesn't beg for respect, doesn't bow for approval. He takes it. He twists the knife of truth until it becomes art, and laughter is his signature. Not a mask, not an escape, but a weapon that cuts deeper than their lies ever could. A rebellion without a flag. Think about it. Every laugh you give after they doubt you is a spark in their fear. Every smirk is a reminder that you are not broken. You are not defeated. You are chaos incarnate. And they can't fight chaos. They can't predict it. They can't survive it. So ask yourself, are you laughing because they don't see you coming? Or because they already know they've lost? Because the moment they realize it, the game is over, and your laughter is the last thing they ever hear. When they try to bury you, they don't know they're planting seeds. Every insult, every betrayal, every whispered plan against you becomes soil for something far darker, something stronger, something that will rise without warning. And when it rises, they'll wish they'd left you in the dirt. Because rising isn't about coming back. It's about becoming something they never imagined. Not stronger, not better, but untouchable. A force carved from every cut they gave you, every lie they whispered in shadow, every second they thought you weren't listening. That's how monsters are born. That's how legends survive. And there's a delicious truth in it. Pain is the smith, betrayal is the hammer, and silence is the forge. They handed you all the tools, and you turned it into art. Not revenge, not destruction, but transformation. You became the thing they feared before they even knew your name. Tell me, how many times have they tried to break you only to build something worse, something more dangerous, something they can't name and can't stop? That's the beauty of it. They thought they were erasing you, but they were writing your legend. And you just read the last line. So listen close. When they burn your name, when they whisper your end, they don't realize they're lighting the fire that will crown you. And when you rise, the world doesn't just notice. It shatters, and your name becomes the echo they can't forget. The world doesn't break you. It forges you. Every cut, every scar, every whisper meant to kill you becomes steel in your spine. They think they're writing your end, but they're carving your armor. And you wear it like a crown, without apology, without fear. Awakening isn't a moment, it's a collapse and a rise. It's the fracture of everything you thought you were, and the brutal creation of something sharper, something darker, something they'll never understand. Because awakening is chaos dressed as clarity, and chaos is the truth. Ask yourself, are you awake now? Or are you still waiting for them to tell you it's your time? Truth is, your time doesn't come from permission. It comes from the moment you decide silence is louder than their noise. When you decide your presence is the blade they can't see until it's in their veins. That's why they fear you. Not because of what you say, but because of what you don't. The unspoken truths, the unread war in your mind, the smile they never saw coming. That quiet, knowing smile that says, yes, I heard you, and I'm still standing. So I leave you with this question. Are you the storm that arrives unnoticed, or the shadow that haunts the last thought they'll ever have? Because when awakening hits, nothing is the same again. Not you, not them, not the world. Ahmad Section 10 delivers the awakening climax in pure Joker style, poetic, chaotic, and psychologically intense, leaving the audience with a question that hooks them.